And we are live and we are back.
Let's go.
I'm Corey,
I'm Jordan.
and this is the Cordan podcast, and we are back.
Like we never left.
We are back like we never left.
Sixty.
Episode 60. Like, hold on, I'm not even gonna get into it right away. Y'all, let's take a moment in time. It's August 2nd. The last time YouTube says we recorded this was February 26th of 2023. It's August 2nd of 2024. So Jordan is finally back. I told you I'm working on getting him back. I didn't lie. I mean, social media exists, but he's here.
Listen,
Okay, so
I know we say we're back like we never left, but I mean, y'all do the
I'm
math.
back like I never left. Jordan is not back. Jordan is back, and he did leave. Nah, I said, look, the paternity leave at CNFE
It's extensive.
is very lasts for a very long
Package
time.
like no other.
Oh my goodness! But yes, I just so happen to remember when we do the episode numbers, we do the Jersey. We were doing the Jersey people until we get episode 100 as far as the CNFE installments. So, who do you think it is for number 60? When I say it, you're probably gonna remember, but maybe not. But who do you think it is for number 60?
No
Who do you
clue.
think the
No.
person is?
uh,
What
yeah,
sport? What sport? Let's give it sport.
Hockey.
Hockey? Nope, it's not hockey. It
Football.
is. Yeah, I mean,
Look at that. I'm just keep going.
it is. Yeah, track and field. Otto Graham. Please tell me you know who Otto Graham is. You
Educate
don't.
me.
This, yeah, I see. This how when you tell me you didn't watch like Sports Center, NFL Network growing up. On NFL Network, when we were growing up, like in middle school, high school, all they would do, like in the summer, they play like the top 10 position player of this thing. Like this is how I know, like when you say I know all this random information, especially about sports, because this is what they, this is what they put on TV. Otto Graham, he played for the Browns. This is before they merged, so he
Okay.
doesn't have any Super Bowls. He was viewed pretty much like the greatest quarterback of all time, but he had got hurt. He had a shoulder injury. He was sort of like Gale Sayers, how Gale Sayers tore his ACL, which ended his
Okay.
entire career. But shout out to Jim Crow era, right? This is 1940s, okay? So medical wasn't that serious back then. But yeah, 5-time Pro Bowler. He like received 3 NFL championships and 4 AF. That's the conference championships. 75 all anniversary team. His jersey retired, 2 of them, 14 and 60. And
Gotcha.
so I don't think he another hockey. I mean, the other jersey option was Jose Theodore. I don't know who that is,
See,
but
that's hockey. See,
yeah,
I had a chance. I had a chance. That's all I'm
yeah.
gonna say.
So, long story short, if you think about one of the greatest, this is before even Bart Starr and all them, because Bart Starr is in the Super Bowl era. So Otto Graham is like, oh, way back,
See, the problem
type of
is
quarterback.
I date my sports history to when relevant to like when I started watching sports forward, right? Like I never went back and like really like did the deep dive. So it's like if it's not one of the really famous people at the top, like that everybody knows, like once you start watching sports, it's kind of like,
Or that's what I'm saying. Otto Graham was further at the top for us. I mean, I'm talking about 2007, 8 time frame. Like this is before like Tom Brady was really Tom Brady or Peyton Manning was really Peyton Manning. There's no Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers.
I
Brett
think I
Favre
was
was still in
still
the
in the cut.
Packers.
I was still in the cut then. I was in
You
Germany.
still in the
So
cut?
okay,
Oh
perfect
yeah,
example.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I moved overseas, remember, for 3 years, right? So there's like a blip, almost like the Marvel blip that happened where I was just
Yes.
completely in a void. This was back when dial-up was a thing, and you couldn't be on the computer and the phone at the same time. And my mom was always on the
Yeah.
phone, so I have no idea what was happening between that time period.
Running up the international bill. Well,
Literally.
Jesus, shout out to Vonage. Anyways, shout out to Drought 3. If you know, you know. But all right. So here we go. Y'all know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. Shout out to the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you leave those podcasters rating reviews on the podcast platforms as well. There we go.
Please.
My information, as well as my coach Jordan information, can be found in the description on YouTube. See, Jordan's been gone so long, I done changed up how to do some of the intro because Jordan isn't here to do it. So I had to take over on how to say things. All right. And then last but not least, this for entertainment purpose only. Myself, no Jordan, for this time specials. Anything here is for entertainment purpose only. You need to seek a professional and do your own research before taking any action. All right, look, y'all.
Is that the legal? You actually got the legal? I know I've been gone a
Nah,
while. You got the legal now?
your sister, she emailed you. I just been trying to remember what she said. I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy to go back and watch the episode in which we actually said what she sent us. So
Okay.
I just, my muscle memory from my brain is
I ain't
like,
gonna
I
hold you. That
think
was
this is
pretty
it.
good. If that was off the top
Yeah.
of the dome, that's pretty good. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
it's not off the top. That's what I say now.
Yeah, I mean, but it sounds pretty
Yeah.
official, you know.
Yeah.
I think she would have wrote that. What he said. Okay,
Yeah. Look, don't sue us. We don't have any money anyway.
look.
Oh my goodness. All right, let me see because we got 2 things. Wait, hold on. Let me take this down. Boom. I knew I was forgetting something. I'm just gonna go over here. Donate to the collection plate. I just got crazy stuff on here. We're not gonna. I gotta clean up our section. All right. Anyways, I know y'all. I forgot. See, this is me forgetting. I know y'all see the title of today's video. We're gonna talk about Project 2025. I think I said I wasn't gonna talk about Project 2025 due to our jobs, but Jordan said let's talk about it. Shout out to the attempted assassination. Shout, yeah, who cares about employment in our families? Shout out to. All right. I made sure I said we're definitely not going to talk about the attempted assassination on President Trump. A lot of y'all don't understand how grave of a situation that is. If y'all thought the pandemic was historic, yeah, presidents attempted. Be thankful it was attempted, because if it wasn't and it was successful, boy, we might even be on a computer right now. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. It'd be a different world. Okay, I don't. Y'all know what it had. I mean, y'all see what the Democrats are dealing with, trying to find a new candidate. You know, with 3 or 4 months out. I mean, we vote in 3 months. Whatever. Y'all don't be paying attention. All right, y'all. Here we go. Well, we're gonna go over first to the CBS article, and then actually before we do that, we're gonna just look at what Project 2025 says in general. We're not going over the whole website, y'all. Jordan not have children. Well, we each have a child, which makes children.
Yes.
So.
Hey, shout out to being fathers on the podcast.
Yeah, so we can't be on here all day, and it's the evening stream. It's not late at night, so they're gonna be back up and terrorizing the place. All right, so Project 2025, for those of you who don't know, and hop in, bro. I know you say you get comfortable, but Project 2025, far right, probably the furthest right political policy. Some people say this is President Trump's policy. It is not President Trump's policy. His is, I think, Trump 2025, or no, Project 47, something like that, whatever president number he would be if he were to win. So this is not quote unquote his, but a lot of the people, or I would say a lot of people, but a lot of the notorious people who wrote this policy, Project 2025, they have been associated with Trump. Either they were on his cabinet or worked for him when he was president, anything like that. So that's why people in short believe that, this is actually something he's going to implement. But I guess we got to head in here, building now for a conservative victory through policy, personnel, and training. Get the facts. All right, let's see what type of facts they got. It's not enough for conservatives to win elections. So we just got to sit here and talk about the policy that they want to do. And again, this is a 2025 transition plan. And again, for those of you who don't know, we vote in 2024, but the president doesn't take effect, until 2025, January of 2025. All right. Do you have anything else you want to go over with this, bro? Before we get into the article?
Not immediate. I just know. Okay, so
Go ahead.
I don't know a lot, but what I have heard is wild. That's all I'm saying. It's about to get crazy up in here. All right, let's do it.
I went, me. After the Kanye West thing, where he said that black people were slaves, which he did say, but he was paraphrasing. He did. They didn't misquote him, but he was paraphrasing a conversation he already had in like a 2 or 3 hour long conversation. So after I watched that and realized that they'll literally just take a snippet, I went and read some of the stuff. A lot of the stuff that I read, I didn't read a lot of stuff because there's so much in there, but the articles that I read as far as the policy that they want passed, when they actually link to the more in-depth articles, a lot of that stuff was like 10 plus years old, like 2010, 2011, 2012. For me, anything pre-pandemic, if it's not 2020, it's got to be at least 2019. But if it's before then, the world has changed so much. And by the way, I'm talking about pre-attempt assassination of President Trump. The world has changed. The world has changed so much even then. Oh, and this is also pre-President Biden and President Trump having a debate, and then President Biden stepping down. Like so much has changed on the political front, and then obviously on the global front, that we need very updated policy on things. Like 5 years due to the pandemic on a global thing, we almost 5 years in. That's crazy. Not in, but past
wild.
But then obviously with all the stuff on the American front, but really it's global too, because it's President of the United States. It has been just a whirlwind of things going on. All right, here we go. CBS. What is Project 2025? What to know about the conservative blueprint for a second Trump administration? And this is by Melissa Quinn, and I guess maybe edited by Jacob Rosen. Updated July 31st, 2024. So look, we give y'all pretty recent. Shout out to Olympics. Yeah, pretty recent. Sometimes my articles just don't worry about when my articles are. But yeah. Anyways. All right, Washington. Voters in recent weeks have begun to hear the term Project 2025 invoked more and more by President Biden, Vice President Harris, and other Democrats who are seeking to sound the alarm about what could be in store for if former President Donald Trump wins a second term in the White House. See, and this is how we do articles. Right? I just read the sentences, the paragraphs, and then when I get upset, I just start talking. And so, all right. So see when it says, look, welcome to Money Mindset. It's no longer Wealth Wednesday. It's Money Mindset. This is how we do. This is why I want the video, so it's a little bit more structure. But when it says here that, in short, the current president and vice president and other Democrats are saying they're trying to sound the alarm of what could possibly be if President Trump ends up winning the election here in November. Well, what about what we could deal with if the current people who are in office, I guess it wouldn't be reelected, but Vice President Harris would become president again? Because currently, it is a shit show on earth, particularly America. The economy is, barely an economy right now. Inflation is, it always goes up. Yeah, inflation means things increase, and we have inflation every year. But it's been crazy high since President Biden and Vice President Harris have taken office, essentially. And then if you look at things like immigration as well, the wars that we're involved in but not involved in, it's a lot of stuff that's going on during their watch.
Listen, I'm gonna leave it like this, right? So, from the economy standpoint, do y'all use Instacart? You know what I'm talking about? Where you go in and you put there's a buy again section. I've been using the buy again section for the same about 3 years. Okay, and why is my cart total almost doubled? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. A carton of eggs, freaking cereal, milk. I get the same stuff. I'm a creature of habit. All right, I don't like new things in my diet. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting the same things all the time, unless it's healthy stuff. Shout out to the fitness section. Anyways, but yeah, my cart then gone up astronomically, right? And that's a problem, right? Because I'm not making astronomically amounts more money. All right, so
you're not making double. You're not making double from the time.
For sure. So that is a problem.
No, I don't use Instacart. I just go to the store. But that's what I've seen. I saw somebody, I believe, on TikTok. It's probably TikTok. No, a TikTok on Twitter, right? But it was or X now. But it was a TikTok, and they used to do the same. They did the same thing for the Walmart app, and his stuff was like 3 times. It went from like maybe $100 to $400. Like, it was an egregious amount. The increase. So yeah, we can talk. Inflation isn't all goods, but food, in short. The primary thing people look at is food and gas, mainly gas for your car, and those things are increasing. As a big side note,
double too.
Yeah. Gas was real during the pandemic because you have to scratch that. So for the last year and a half or so, for the last year of Trump's presidency, you can't really count that because they had to decrease the prices because nobody was driving.
Gotcha.
But it still wasn't crazy. But see, I don't. Did you had a Volkswagen in high school, right? I know in college. Would you have it in high school too?
No, just college. My first car was a blue Saturn Ion.
Okay, so you had it in college though. You had to buy premium, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, the most I've ever paid for gas is $4.24 for premium. I've yet to pay that. I do regular now because I have a Honda. But when I had my Acura in high school and college, I was buying premium. Gas hasn't been that high. Now it's still been high, but it hasn't been as high. Yeah, it is pretty high. And then we got 2 vehicles now. Our car's got, big gas tanks. So I'm paying more in gas for sure. Right. But as far as when I've gone to the pump, whatever it was, maybe 2012, 2013, when I got gas and that joker said $4.24, I said, geez, we better be on California standards at $5. Like, we on the way. And it never went above that. And I actually had a coworker. She had went to California for a conference. She went to San Francisco. She said gas is $10.
That's crazy. That's insane.
What?
What are they making out there? I gotta know the ratio. I gotta know what am I getting versus what am I spending? Because that's nuts.
And here's the quick. Shout out, Democrats running, cities or states. Shout out to Governor Newsom. But California, a couple years ago, maybe a handful of years ago, they passed a law where, in short, like at 2030, there can't be any new vehicles that are electric. Gas. They all have to be electric. Right. Well, a lot of people got ahead of that. Not a lot, people went ahead of that, and they just started getting electric vehicles, to prepare for it. Well, guess what California is running into an issue with? And I'm gonna go over this on a Money Mindset. They're running into an issue now where the tax that they got for people buying gas, they no longer have those tax dollars, and they're trying to figure out a way to get that tax money back. Now, who the hell? I was talking to one of my clients yesterday about this. I said, if one thing the government's supposed to do is figure out how to get the tax dollars, like if we're gonna make a decision as any type of government entity, state, right, federal, local, whatever it is. Okay, what do we do? How is it going to impact our taxes? Because and now they're getting mad because I think they use that tax to like fix the roads and stuff. And I'm thinking, who sat down and didn't be like, yo, we're not going to have none of this money at all. If everybody has an electric vehicle, then the tax will go to zero.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, for lawnmowers, whatever people use them. But I mean, diesel trucks, I guess, was still. But I mean, it's essentially going to go to zero if the entire state.
Yeah, I mean they got electric lawnmowers too. Shout out to Ryobi because I've definitely been using that for the past 2 years.
Oh,
So
there you go. See, I'm in an apartment still, so I ain't cutting no grass. So I'm not up to date. I'm not surprised. I'm not up to date.
I mean, they don't last as long, but the glass get cut. That's all I need.
That's all you need. Yeah, so HOA don't yell at you. But it's one of those things. In California, having more larger population than Canada, which is a whole country, larger population than a lot of countries out there, and like the 5th highest GDP out of every place on the entire earth. Like I think it's China outside the United States, China, Germany, and Japan, I believe, or India. I mean, I can't remember, but it's only a handful of countries that even have a higher gross GDP. G and GDP stands for gross. Anyways, a higher GDP than California. So like that's the type of stuff where you're looking at either Democrats on a state level, local level. You can look at New York, how they're dealing with the immigrant situation, Chicago. There are a lot of issues that have been going on, which again you could attribute to what President Trump had in office, right? Because obviously the presidency bleeds over as far as what people instill. I think one big thing we have to look at for both presidencies is the pandemic. Not as much for President Trump's because he didn't win the election and the pandemic started in 2020, which is really his last year. But I mean, for 2020 into 2021, 2022, the pandemic really didn't end until truly this year, as far as the policies and stuff that were in place, and then those longer taken into effect. So if your whole presidency was essentially a global pandemic, there has to be some understanding there up to a point, though. Yeah. And now I think we're at that breaking point.
Well, I was going to bring in
Go ahead, bring it in.
My grievances is
your student loans.
They be lying, bro. People be lying. You already know where I'm going with it. They be lying, bro. And I know politicians lie all the time. Like, I mean, it kind of comes with the territory. It's almost like you take their promises with a grain of salt at this point, right? But you gotta come through to a certain extent, right? And I know they'll be like, oh, he forgave a certain amount of loans loans for those random technical institutions that nobody go to, or a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the people go to, and that gets forgiven. It's not gonna help you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like so hold on, make sure I say this right. Our generation, we are the millennials, right? We don't forget. Yes. Okay, you put. Because now, I mean, I'm getting old now, right? Because the generation, there's what two voting generations now after us. Is that right?
No, one. Gen Z is still coming into. People are voting this year were born. Jesus, people were voting this year born in 2006.
That's what I'm saying. That's what, like, so we getting there. We're getting there. So it's 1.5 voting generations after us, right?
As I always say, people are lucky I'm not in charge. So the thing, if y'all think Project 2025. I think post 9/11, people born after 9/11, we got to consider if you can even vote or not. Because whatever, go ahead, finish. I'll go after you.
No, I was just saying, but like so it's not all this. We don't forget. If you pull up and tell me, you know what I mean, that you're gonna forgive my student loans. We all know how that goes. All right, we've all lived the same life here in America, and that didn't come to pass. I'm gonna feel some type of way. All right, and I know. So as of this moment, right? So Biden is no longer running. Kamala is now, the nomination for that party. But I mean, she was a part of that whole process, right? Like, you were there, nothing happened. I'm a little salty. I ain't gonna hold you. It hurts me in my wallet. You know what I mean? I had to come up with that money because I mean, I took your word as bond. Like, and mind you, we are.
You took my word. My word as bond.
The good thing is. We are financially disciplined over here, all right? So we made it happen. It wasn't, like a major setback, but at the same time, it's not like I went out and blew the money I invested it, right? So It's there, right? But it's just the principle of, you told me I had this money come my way and it never happened. So it's like, now I got this little nasty taste in the back of my mouth. So it's like I can't really believe the things that you're saying, right? And I feel like I ain't gonna hold you for the past several elections, not even like just I mean, we've only been voting for the past three technically, right? But I mean, so aside from that first one, right, at least the past two for sure, it's been like I feel like I'm voting between a rock and a hard place. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm getting a little bias in here right now, but I don't necessarily care for either candidacy. Like, it's like this person that I don't necessarily care for, this person that's a liar. So it's like you know what I mean. So now I gotta weigh, I guess, to take on the issues and what they plan to implement, but it's also like, I mean, are you actually going to implement it? History doesn't fare on your side, right? So I'll leave it at that.
No, I was going to say, one, for those who don't know, Jordan and I can run for office next election because we'll be 35. Okay, we turn 35 in 4 years. Right?
Y'all see us on the platform. We on there. All right, look at
I told people, I said, one of the main, I mean, to get through this article, right? How are we doing? But one of the main issues is what appeared last election with Trump versus Biden, excuse me, Trump versus Hillary, is that neither party had a candidate. I don't know what some people are saying that the governor of our state, Wes Moore, could be was a possible option. I'm like, he just became governor.
Yes,
He's only been governor. He hasn't been governor for 2 years yet. I think we're going on. He's going on 2 years. I mean, like, what are we talking about? Like the pipeline. Like we talk about Obama and how long they knew. I mean, he's a senator, but like we hear about the pipeline and things like that. Talking about even Senator, please, Mitt Romney was a senator. Senator McCain. Like, I mean, these people have been in the federal government for a long time, and if you're going to be at the state level as a governor, Maryland we get lucky because we're next to DC, and so the politics are connected. But Maryland, in general, as a state, is not one of the states where you look at the governor in and of itself as like, the governor can be president. That's California, Texas, and New York and Florida. That's it. Those are the only 4 states where if you're gonna tell me the governor is gonna run for president, I'd be like, okay, because those states are literally countries in and of themselves. And look at them. Maryland, look, this is Maryland. Look, y'all know how I feel about the state of Maryland, but the governor of Maryland, you have to be governor for a long time, like our last governor was Larry Hogan, but not a governor who hasn't been there 2 years yet. And what are we? It's not like he was 2 years and he came from Congress or something like that. Right? I mean, this is insane. So I think neither party, right? And you can see obviously with Trump running again, neither party has a viable option for the future. And as you're saying, how you don't like either option, either with Biden or even now with Harris, I'm of the belief where we need to change the voting. The age that you can be to run for president, there needs to be a cap. I know you can only serve 2 terms, but if it was me, neither at the time Biden nor Trump could run because they would have been too old. I think the cutoff is 68. If if you're going to be older than 68 on the day of inauguration, you can't run. Like there's something right. There's so many issues, right, that we have to tackle. But I think one of the main issues is that the pipeline we have for president. I think we should take it to 18 as well. If you want to vote for an 18-year-old for president, fine. You know what I mean? Like if you like if that's your choice, fine. But you can be in the House, I believe, at 25, House Representatives. You can be a senator at 30. So I believe, and Biden, I believe, was a senator at 30. He got elected when he was 29, but when he was in the seat, he was 30 years old. And I'm like, 25 or 30 or 8. I just think that it should be 18 for everything because if that's the age you can join the military. I just think that should be the age. You can't go and die for the country, then come back and be 100%, TDIU with your legs blown off, getting special monthly compensation, and you're 19 years old, and I tell you can't legally drink. That doesn't make sense. And if we want to make it so military people can drink with their ID, I'm fine with that too. But regardless, I think there are a lot of things that don't seem like a big issue, but are things that would be huge wins for us going forward. Putting an age restriction on really all the seats, making the House and the Senate and the Supreme Court, where you can't serve indefinitely, even though Supreme Court is indefinite. But for Congress, you can just get infinitely reelected until you pass away. You can literally die serving. So I think those are the type of things where we do have all these issues: immigration, the economy, all these different type of things, war, all these things. But those are things where if we get past, you'll be able to see a change in the pipeline. Now you need the people who are sitting in the seats to pass those, right? You want me to pass a law that's going to make me lose my job?
Yeah, not going to happen.
Yeah, that's where it's confusing. But to your point, and to get back to the article, when you're saying how, are you going to be able to get these policies enacted? The president, if you know anything about, how the government is set up, the president is arguably / the executive branch is arguably the least effective and the least important out of all the branches. It's the most important figure, right? And that is commander in chief. And you have the vice president, and those are only 2 people you vote for. You actually don't vote for the vice president, right? The vice president just gets picked, right? Whoever they pick. So you don't actually get to pick the vice president. You pick the president, and then by voting for the president, you hope that they pick the cabinet you want, but you don't pick the cabinet, which makes up, the treasury, secretary of treasury, all the different type of stuff. But Congress, the legislative branch, and then Supreme Court / judicial branch, they got way more power. The checks and balances little circle that they showed us, where it was like a recycle thing, where they, everybody's checking each other. That's not a thing, right? It's the legislative branch. That's where the laws start, and then the president either vetoes it or he puts it in, into law, and then the Supreme Court goes and says whether or not that law is a good thing. It's going to actually be a law based on the Constitution. But the Supreme Court has to get stuff kicked up to them. Right? They just don't just rule on things like out of nowhere. They got to get all this, at the local level. Like you have an issue right now. Jordan Sun has some issue in Harford County, right? And then he goes to his county court, right? Then he appeals it there, and it goes up to whatever the court is above that. Then it goes to the district court, which is over multiple states. Then it goes to Supreme Court. Like they don't just sit here and rule on laws. So even then, it's like you're telling me the legislative branch and the judicial branch are the two branches where people can serve indefinitely. Well, those would be the two important branches. I mean, if you're president for 8 years, I mean, how much stuff can you really get done?
Yeah.
Especially when you're coming in, like Obama did after someone who served 8 years and on the other side. So you got to undo their policies in theory. Yep. It's just the simple logic of it. All right. So all that type of stuff. Yeah. So, will they get the policies passed? But I mean, the midterm election is more important anyway when we vote another 2 years to put these people in play.
A small other interjection. Other things that should be updated for credentials for presidency. I don't understand how my man's could be a felon and still run for president. How does that work? If I check that box on a job application, I get denied. I'm not saying, we don't know that's for a fact, but more than likely, I am not going to get that job. You tell me you can run for the leader of the free world as a felon, still be on the ballot. You know what I mean? And everything's okay. That's a problem to me. Again, as Cory was saying, things that need to be updated. They just kind of, need to be revisited. So
yeah, I mean, put it like this: if y'all thought he wasn't going to run for president, I don't care how many felons you thought. I think what I've noticed with Trump is that people like underestimate one, like who he was before he was president, and like two, that he was president. Like he was the president of the United States. He was by definition one of the most powerful humans that ever existed. I mean, like you can't just you need more than just some felonies to get him out of here. I mean, it's a president.
Yeah. I mean, does that make him above the law though? I mean, again, you check that. So situation, right?
Yeah.
You're a felon, right? You're going.
I'm not a felon.
You're not, by the way. Yeah, hypothetical. Let's be very clear. Hypothetical situation. Cory is not a felon. He has no.
Look, chop it up.
They'd be like, wait, what? Yeah, Cory has no criminal record, y'all. Remember, entertainment purposes only. All right. Hypothetical situation. You have a criminal history. Let me put it that way. And you go to a job interview, and you have to declare whether you had this criminal history. Should you be allowed to circumvent the process, you know what I mean? Because you, at one point, were the most powerful man in the free world.
I think that felons should be able to vote. Once you serve your time, I'm not one of these people who believe in punishing you indefinitely. If you get out of jail or prison, you should be able to come back into society. I think that's one of the main issues is that we talk about, rehabilitation for prisoners and we don't rehabilitate them. I mean, if you ever ask someone who has a felony, it is hard for them. If they don't have any family support, they can barely do anything. And I'm not talking about
they get integrated back into life with a quality of life, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not talking about repetitive offenders, right? I'm talking about sure you live a life of crime, right? But you finally get caught up. I mean, this is a felony. You're a felon, right? Okay. Right. And you actually did this stuff, and then you get convicted. You have one strike, and then you're trying to live a normal life, a legal life, and it's hard for them to rent somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's hard for them to get any job that would pay for somewhere to rent and short that wouldn't put them back into the environment that they just came out of. Exactly. I always say if hypothetically, if I were to go to jail, I would never get out early on to go on parole. That is a setup. No, I want to serve when I get out, I want to be good to go. Why would I want to be on I want to be on parole? Right? Because I forget what the term is, but a lot of them end up,
recidivism.
Yeah, recidivism. There we go.
I got you.
And they end up violating their parole, or they end up committing crimes again. And a lot of times that's due to the rehabilitation process. So the whole point is you don't do the crime unless you're willing to do the time. Well, people are doing the time and they get out, and then what do we do with them out here? Like people can talk about the death penalty, but if we're gonna pay all this money, right, to put you in jail, all this tax money, outside of the fact that all the money is made off of prisons, but just in general, we're going to spend money for our taxes to put you in jail, right? Then when you get out, we're not going to make you be a contributing person to society. Well, why are you here?
Yeah, we can make a whole nother episode out of this, bro. But yeah, that just goes back into how basically prison is a business, right? So I got to get my labor. I can't set my labor free.
I need you to come back.
Exactly. So I put these conditions on you where it significantly increases your chances. Again, I think, as I said, recidivism is a scam, more or less. Like you get the stamp that's labeled on you once you do your time. You come in, you found guilty, you get out, but now you have these certain living conditions which make it even more difficult than it was when let's put it this way, you had none of these conditions and you still ended up in jail, right? your percentages of success are now even less likely than they were before you got here. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's literally a scam. It's like
Yeah.
it's like playing Monopoly with half the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you gonna land on somebody else's board and you're going to prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Nah, yeah, but to answer the question directly, I mean, whether he has felonies or not, if he's not if he's not in jail or prison and he's just out here and there's no, I mean, they just like gave him the felonies and he's still able to conduct his life. Why can't he run for president? I know he can't run based off the laws, but I don't believe that you just just get your rights taken, because being able to vote or run for president is inherent to you. The fact that you were born here in American soil, you
right.
can't take that away from you. But we got stuff in place where you can take it away. Like
Tracking.
that's the whole point of, if you're born here in America, you have the right to vote. That's
Yeah.
why, back in racist days where the grandfather clause, or we had to be able to read the vote, all that stuff, that used to be a law in effect for racism standpoint, that's taken away. If you're born here, you get the vote. Like, it's in a discussion.
Right.
Now, if you commit, act of treason, something like that, that's
Yeah.
different. You don't get to vote. You get to vote no more. But I mean, look, you commit felonies, and you can argue, how what's worse, white collar. I mean, white collar crimes usually come with more time, like bank fraud or something like that. But I mean,
I just got
it
okay.
kind of just is what it is.
So I got an amendment to the hypothetical situation. If it was
Mhm.
somebody that looked like you or me that had a felony
Mhm.
background, do you think they would have
Yeah, then
enforced that? Yeah. Do you think
I
they would
think
have enforced
Obama
it?
still would have been able to run for president. I mean, or Kamala, however you want to do.
I got you. No, we
Yeah.
use Obama because he technically has,
Yeah.
he's previous
Yeah,
president, right?
he's
Same
been
similar
president.
circumstances, right? So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Genuine answer.
Also too, the same thing I say with is it Brett Kavanaugh or Robert Kavanaugh, whoever the Supreme Court justice was that Trump elected, and they were trying to not let him run because of a sexual assault issue that
Right.
happened. He is being nominated for the Supreme Court. How can you take a Supreme Court justice to court and think like you just got some shit from like 30 years ago? No,
Yeah.
no DNA evidence. This is arguably the best lawyer on earth for the United States of America. And you gonna do people? It's the simple logic. A Supreme Court justice, in theory, is a top 9 lawyer. Okay, you can't just take him to court with some shit for 30 years ago. I can tell you gonna lose.
I mean, you can try.
Well, they did try. They did try. And when you have, especially, I mean, I watched, almost every order Law and Order SVU for like up until like 2016, 17. Look, you need that DNA evidence. I'm just saying, not to make light of it, but I mean, these are the type of things where, these are extremely powerful people, whether you like how they got the power or not. But like Trump isn't like incompetent in the general sense of it. Like, you might disagree on how he moves or what he does, but like, he's not weak.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know we keep getting sidetracked because eventually we do have to go over this article, but
no, we don't.
Things. this is my spiel. Things I like about. Oh, sorry about that. There's a thunderstorm brewing in the background. Things I like about former President Trump. Right. He is about that life. And what do I mean by that? What he say he gonna do, and he gonna challenge you to make him not do it. Does that make sense? Bro will tell you he's going to do something, sign an executive order to put it in place, and make you find out if he has violated the gray area to do that. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, he's the opposite of what we've had in the past, right? Where people do their checks and balances before they do anything. He's like, nah, sign that joint, and then make them do their job to tell me that I can't do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like that about him. He stands on business, you know what I mean, for lack of better terms, right?
Mm-hmm.
For my Ebonics brethren out there, all right. So
he would have wrote an executive order to get the student loans forgiven. Y'all would have had y'all student loans forgiven, and then they would say it's illegal. Y'all had to pay the money back. But at least you can say he tried.
But I like that. Because it's like, you know what I mean. I feel like he's shooting at the hip, and he makes you dodge it. You know what I'm trying to say? So like, I'm cool with that.
That's a crazy metaphor.
I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, it's about that life. So saying that to say, but it's the character behind the person that I have a problem with, right? I mean, there's been several instances, we ain't gotta get into detail, but it's like, you basically tell me that you don't like me and my people, right? And I can't change who I am. I'm a black person. I'm a black man. I was born in America. I am African American. Okay, we're not gonna get into the weeds of it, but more or less, you don't necessarily care for me, and it's like, you're very vocal about that, right? I feel like, if honestly, and this is gonna sound real bad, if he would talk less and do more, he'd actually be a much better candidate, right? Because I mean, a lot of the hate he gets is because of some of the stuff he says. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not his actions. I mean, it is to a certain extent, but it's not. Most of the stuff, like I said, he's about that life. Most of the stuff he does from a presidential standpoint isn't super crazy. You know what I mean? It's stuff that may kind of make sense, but his character, right? I can't support somebody who doesn't like. I mean, verbatim, would you back somebody that don't like you? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I mean, he don't like me personally, but it's like, it's like I mean, without blatantly saying it, you know what I'm trying to say? You know what I'm alluding to, right?
Yeah,
So
but I would say, I mean, but I would say both. You could put both sides, and I guess, I mean, Kamala flat out said she's not. I mean, she has said she's not going to do anything. This is back, I believe, when she was running for president 4 years ago,
right.
before Biden had won the nomination. But I mean, she said she's not going to do anything explicitly for Black people, right? She has a situation now where, like, and this is the thing too. See, I'm Black. I'm not mixed race. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So I'm in the situation where, however y'all decide how Black people are, I know I'm gonna make the cut, because to my
like we're in there. There's no ambiguity. Like, you know.
Yeah, I know my skin. I know my skin may be lighter than most people, but my grandmother is like one of the darkest people I know. Okay, so and that is and it's my mom's mom. So like, it's definitely someone I'm related to, right? Like, I know who my dad is, but you know what I mean. Like, this is definitely someone that I'm blood related to, and for some of y'all whose parents aren't like as old as our parents, as far as our parents were born pre during the Jim Crow era, so 60s and earlier, they're not too far away from knowing who was a slave, because if you know your great grandparents as our parents, you're getting back to like almost the 1800s. Okay, right. So like, so my great grandma was my mom's grandma. All right, and your grandma.
That's
right?
usually how it works. Look at that.
Yeah, and so my mom knows her grandma, right? And then so my mom's grandma, guess who she knows? Her grandma. Okay. Okay. So the conversation, as far as like, I'm just saying to say, like, I know I come from slaves. That's a long story.
I got you.
So I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make whatever type of cut y'all gonna have. Okay. I'm gonna make it. Okay. Not to mention, my last name is Covington. If you know anything about the South, if you go to North Carolina, it's a lot of people with my last name down there, and you know why? Anyways, so
I do, but
all that to say, when it's like, Obama being the first Black president, to my knowledge, Black has always been / African American. It means you can point to a slave somewhere as one of your grandparents, great, whatever it is, grandparent. That's how I always interpret it. As the internet has came about, social media, niggas is changing shit up. And that's really when Obama started. So we're talking about 07 now, when he runs. And Obama has a white mom, and his dad is African. Like, Obama doesn't come from slaves as far as, his actual bloodline from his father. So he wouldn't make that cut. Now, he is Black, right? I mean, he's like, we're African, from a descendant standpoint, ancestors, whatever words you want to use. So he would be in that sense, but not when Jesse Jackson, I believe, made the term. That's not what African American is for, or Black is for. It means you come from slaves. It means if we were to do reparations, and that's for people who came from slaves, that's what it's all about, he wouldn't make the cut. Now, when it comes to Kamala, she's in that same boat, and I haven't been able to find it in depth, but to my knowledge, it seems like she's 3/4 Indian, as far as Indian meaning from the country India. Her mom is full Indian, and from what I've heard, her dad is half Indian, half Jamaican. So even if her dad was African American, half African American, half Indian, she still would be more Indian in the first place. But he's not even, African American. He's from Jamaica, right? So then it's like everybody's just getting the Black tag, and I'm thinking, damn. I feel like you don't watch House of Dragons, but for those who watch House of Dragons, I
do not, y'all. Sorry.
When
I'm working on it. I got to catch up. I got to finish Game of Thrones first, apparently.
Yeah. Long story short, in Game of Thrones, people with the dragons got yellow hair. I mean, blonde hair, right? Okay. So we got somebody who got a dragon, House of Dragons, but he has black hair. He's a brunette, and he's telling his mom, who has yellow hair, like, dang, if we just gonna let anybody get a dragon, what's that make me? You know what I mean? Like, because I don't even got blonde hair, and if niggas without blonde hair can ride a dragon, what's that make me? If everybody can just be African American because they come from Africa, what's the whole point of complaining about the reparations and the slavery? That's the whole purpose of the reparations, is that the slaves that came here to what is now known as the United States of America, that's where we come from. And if you letting everybody else get that equity, which ensures what happened with laws being passed right after the civil rights movement, you see everybody else getting subclass, the Black communities on the downturn. And this isn't the Project 2025, but the Black community is on the downturn. Hispanic community is on the uprise. Asian and white community, everybody's on the uprise, but Black people in the United States of America. And when I say Black people here, I'm talking about African Americans in the sense of slaves, because people who are first generation African or immigrants, they are doing well financially. See, and that's where I get confused. And I always like to say, and I was gonna say it now so I can get over this on the internet. If you're not saying you come from the niggers, this is not for you. And no.
I'm sorry.
No, because people argue about, with the ER or the A, and this is the conversation that people don't want to have. Y'all know what we're talking about, okay? You come from the people who got called with the hard ER. If you do not come from them, we're not talking about you when we generally say Black or African American. Obviously, Black is, I know a few people I know are actually Black in skin tone. We're talking about, and now let's be clear, people in India, Middle Easterns, you call them brown now. They Brown has now been taken from them. They can be called what they want, but like it's just so much when it comes to who Kamala is as a person, as far as what we see versus, as you brought up, versus who we see as Trump as a person, and then versus the policies that Trump wants to enact or enacted when he was in office. Kamala technically has never been president, so she can't take the full blame
right
of stuff because she wasn't president yet. But what she says she wants to act. I mean, let's be very clear. She was against Biden and a lot of stuff 4 years ago, and then she becomes his vice president. But if you look at a lot of policies that she wanted or things she was for, it wasn't that. And then with President Biden saying that she was the border czar, the person in charge of the border, I mean, the illegal immigrant number is out the wazoo here. It's in the tens of millions. I think the lowest number you'll see is 15 million. I mean, that's a problem because we talk about people here, again, getting to Project 2025, we're getting the taxes and things like that. These immigrants are getting funded with our tax money. I mean, I don't know. Maybe y'all don't pay taxes. That's the issue. Jordan and I pay taxes. Yes. So for those of us who pay taxes, I mean, when you say you want your property taxes lowered and things like that, well, if your state is taking care of all these illegal immigrants, where do you think this money's coming from? It's coming from somewhere that you're paying. The government pays for stuff with taxes, unless you're California with the gas tax. But the government pays for stuff with taxes. All right. That's the type of stuff people have to look at. But anyways, once we get into the second paragraph, overseen by this is overseen by the Conservative Heritage Fund Foundation. Multi-pronged initiative includes it's a blueprint, right, for the next Republican president. In short, is what Project 2025 is. Now, this isn't the president's blueprint or President Trump's blueprint, but it's like, in short, a recommendation. All right, so it's not his. Trump has his own thing. President Trump has his own thing, but it's a recommendation. But it's far, far right if you're in the political stuff. So Trump in his campaign has worked to distance themselves from Project 2025. With former president going so far as to call some of the proposals abysmal, but Democrats have continued to tie the transition project to Trump, warning that its policy proposals are what Americans can expect if they elect the former president in November. Now let's see, and I don't know if you've seen some of the videos. My timeline might be a little more conservative than you, but they've been like reading, like they've been like the trolls. So people are conservative, but they're being a troll about it. It'd be like, yeah, this sucks, and they say like, if they make it so taxes aren't as high. And stuff like that. Now, obviously, when you read more in depth to the policy, because that's how stuff ends up getting passed, that's people have issues. But for the surface stuff, when you read some of these things where it's like decrease illegal immigration, right? Our conversation should be what is the definition of illegal immigration, not if illegal immigration should be low, right? The argument is that the people should be able to come here illegally. No, what? Now, if you disagree with the definition of it is, that's what you should say. All right. So what's Project 2025? Proposed presidential transition project, composed of 4 pillars: a policy guide for the next presidential administration, a LinkedIn-style database. Jordan knows about this. I mean, Jordan doesn't know about it. Jordan is not.
I did not make this database. Hold on, look.
A LinkedIn-style. Hey, you said I was a felon. Anyway, a LinkedIn-style database, of personnel who could serve in the next administration. Training for that pool of candidates dubbed the Presidential Administration Academy, and a playbook of actions to be taken within the first 180 days in office. So when you look in this, like on this, if you just look at these 4 pillars, right, it's like, okay, obviously, every president has a policy, right? So that's redundant, right? I would hope you're not running for president with no policy. Where it says a LinkedIn style database, that's just, a hit word, LinkedIn, but, a database of personnel who could serve in the next administration. That'd be great to have a pool of people you can pull from, right? And then training for those people. Well, that sounds good. Right. And then obviously stuff you want to do in the first 180 days, which for whatever reason is a big deal for president. Now that's just, when you read the first 4 things, right? It's like, okay, cool. But when you get into the fine print, that's when people start fine print. I don't know how much fine print we're going to have, but that's when people start having an issue. So it's led by 2 former Trump. Okay. So like I was saying, 2 former Trump administration officials. So it's led by them. They weren't in his cabinet, but they're officials. Paul Dans, who was the chief of staff. Okay. So chief of staff is a very high position, a personal management, and serves as director of the project. And then Spencer Chatterton, former special assistant.
Chrétien?
Bruh, the names of the people who write these articles be giving me hell. Like I used to have maybe 10, 20 straight episodes. I don't know, y'all. And I like to pronounce people's names correctly, but obviously I don't know how to do it. But so Spencer was former special assistant to Trump, and now the Project 2025's associate director. So in short, the director and associate director for Project 2025 were President Trump's assistants when he was president. Dan's announced on July 30th that he would be stepping down from his role as head of Project 2025 and departing Heritage in August. So this is something to think like, okay, is he going to be, going back to being an assistant for President Trump if he wins the election? Type of thing here. Project 2025 is spearheaded by the Heritage Foundation, okay, advisory board, more than 100 conservative groups, okay, that's showing the makeup of people who work on this policy. A lot of the focus and criticism of Project 2025 involves its first pillar, the nearly 900-page policy book that lays out an overhaul of the federal government called Mandate for Leadership 2025, the Conservative Promise. The book builds a mandate for leadership first published in January 1981. So that's how long and short, this goes back to 1981, over 40 years now. Okay, so we're going on over 43 years, which sought to serve as a roadmap for Ronald Reagan's incoming administration. Shout out to President Reagan. All right, so I would say President Trump has a chance to do what President Reagan, President Nixon did, which is win 49 states. Because depending on how Kamala pulls this stuff together, when they have that debate, boy, she better be Michael Jordan. She cannot miss.
Yeah,
she cannot miss. Well, she needs to be whatever the guy's name, American Sniper. She cannot afford to miss. Anyways, the recommendations outline the spiraling plan, reach every corner of the executive branch from the executive office, the president, Homeland Security, to little known export import bank. Yeah, I believe they want to get rid of the Department of Education.
They do.
But... yeah. All right, we can talk about that. So the Department of Education, if they were to get rid of that, what does that mean? How would you feel about that?
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it depends. So does that dismantle what was too? Because if that getting rid of, it's getting real out. Sorry for that. If y'all get that feedback,
no, we can't hear.
Okay, sorry. This is a thunderstorm extremely close to my house. So if I pause a little bit, that's what's going on. It's getting, what I'm saying? Anyways, does eliminating the Department of Education eliminate my student loans? That's what I have to ask. Because they are
no.
Okay.
The last thing the conservatives are going to do, especially far right conservatives, are going to let you get your student loans forgiven.
Had to ask.
Nah, then you'd be forward. Yeah, get them up out of here.
Right, they can go. Get them. I don't know. I guess I gotta. What exactly? So the Department of Education. What exactly? If elimination of that, what does that remove? What are we?
Well, the big thing about the Department of Education, right? I mean, again, federal government versus state government. I feel like not you, but so many people just didn't pay attention in class, which I know they didn't because I was in class with y'all, and I know at least my people on my Facebook. I know how smart y'all were growing up, and I know y'all didn't go to college to gain this information because you didn't go to college to get information. Okay, so the federal government in its genesis, right, when the country started, they're not really supposed to be telling us what to do on a state and local level. That's what the state and local government are for. That's why your midterm elections are more important when you elect your governor and your county or city state officials. Okay, that's why it's more important. The federal government is one, the main thing, commander in chief. So from a military standpoint, and to make sure in general our economy is not messed up, and they give us some type of global presence. We're the United States of America, so we're supposed to have, we are now the big bad, bad guys out here. We're supposed to have a very big global presence. But as far as Department of Education, you're still going to have it down to at the state level. But put it like this: you got a high school diploma, right, from Harford County. Mm-hmm. To get that diploma is different from what I got in Anne Arundel County. We're in the same state,
gotcha,
right? But you have a board of education for Harford County, wherever it's at, and they determine how you get your degree, right? And then for my county, they determine how we get our degree. Like that's just how it works. And when you actually look at your degree, well, yours might not say it, but a lot of times when you look at the school and things like that, it comes down to that low level. Like why and how could the federal government, who's in charge of 50 states plus DC, and then you got Puerto Rico, things like that, the territories, from an education standpoint, even be able to make sure that now our citizens, our youth, are not being educated properly. Right? You can make the conversation where you see the meme with George Bush where it says it's no child left behind, but they chop off the no and it just says child left behind, right? I mean, and again, black people, black boys can't even read. I think it used to be a 4th grade, I believe now it's 8th grade reading level. But like the amount of people who are literally illiterate, like if you don't have a reading comprehension and math skill level at a 12th grade level and you're 18, 19 years old, you're illiterate. Like people cannot read, right, at the level they should be able to read. People cannot do math, basic math. I'm not talking about calculus. Gotcha. Right, on an everyday basis. But basic algebra. Basic algebra, even lower than that. Shout out to y'all budgets. We're not talking about finances like that, but y'all can't do addition and subtraction. y'all can't do, I make 100,000. So if I spend 120,000, I'm gonna be negative 20,000. And then you're gonna be upset that you negative 20,000. Like it's just simple math. So, if they were to get rid of it, and I haven't looked into this, and it's not going to get into them getting rid of the Department of Education. Let's see if it's in here.
Yeah, I'm looking at what they
No, it's
do
not.
overall. They got kind of like a highlight of
Nah.
there's an article that goes over the highlight of kind of like what the Department of Education is responsible for.
Mhm.
It's basically saying like promotion to elaborate on what you were referring to. Kind of like the promotion of federal education programs. So, like you said, no child left behind. Processing of like federal grants, so things that determine who qualifies for what in terms of assistance to go to secondary education. Supplement and complement the efforts of states, the local school systems, and other instrumentalities of the states, the private sector, public and private educational institutions, public and private nonprofit educational research institutions, community-based organization, parents, and students to improve the quality of education.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, just
Yeah.
basically
But
making programs to make sure people get through. But it sounds like, so based off of what you said, they ain't doing their job
well, I
efficiently
mean, have you looked at America's education compared to other countries? Remember, we got the highest GDP. So in theory, we got, well, I mean, shout out to our debt, but we got the highest GDP. All right, so we bringing in the biggest bag. We got everybody on the whole planet. California, Texas, Florida, and New York, I believe, are all maybe top 25, top 30. They all have a GDP of over $1 trillion. Okay, there's some countries only have a GDP over $1 trillion. We got 4 states who bring in over $1 trillion. So it's not like we don't generate quote unquote money here, right? Obviously, using the money is a whole different issue. But
Right.
I mean, when we talk about our education system, which would be one of the most important things, and not the most important thing, because it's our future, right? It's our pipeline to run things. I mean, we're terribly, terribly behind. And I'm just going to switch the tab real quick here.
Got you.
I zoom in stuff because I didn't think it would. It says it right in the second sentence. So, all right. So this is Project 2025 here. I guess Lindsay M. Burke wrote this. But again, federal education policy should be limited, and ultimately, the federal Department of Education should be eliminated. All right, this is the first sentence. They're not playing. They straight, as Jordan said, Trump was straight. They straight to the point. All right, when power is exercised, it should empower students and families, not government. All right, our pluralistic society. Okay. So in short, they're saying, what the Department of Education should be doing, they're not doing. And again, you can't get mad when conservatives say conservative things, right? Conservatives are pro smaller government, right? They don't like a big government. And in short, having all these various departments that they believe they don't need, because they believe in the Department of Defense, right? They believe they don't need. It's not there. But remember, there's no Department of Defense at the state level. I mean, you have the National Guard, but the military is a federal thing, right? It's not a state thing, quote unquote. Education's at the state level. Okay, so we're in Maryland, so DC isn't a far away thing for us. Like it's kind of all the same thing for us. We don't like view it as like the federal government because it's like our lives. But if I'm over here in like Nevada, how is someone in DC gonna really understand, what we have going on here? And remember, the Department of Education, this is a bureaucracy. This is not people we vote into office. Right. We vote the president in, and then the president picks this person. And so that's the other thing too, when you have to look at like this person making the decision who you didn't even vote for, versus again, you go down to your county level and you can go and talk to these people. You can talk to your county executive, which is in short like the president of your county or the mayor or whatever it is and you can go talk to these people. You don't the Department of Education, Secretary of Department of Education, don't have time to talk to you.
That's true.
I'm telling you the truth. And so when it comes to, you're in a situation now, right? We each have a child now. It's like, yo, y'all got to fix this stuff. You know what I mean? Like it kind of gets serious out here when you're able to relate to this stuff more.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. So again, the policy they want to do. Okay, some of the policies, right, have been discussed by Republicans for years or pushed, right, by Trump. Okay, federal. All right, talk about education and support for school choice. Trump did give most money to HBCUs, so he got that on his resume. Work requirements for able-bodied childless adults on food stamps, and secure a border with increased enforcement of immigration laws, mass deportations, and construction of a border wall. All right. Let's have scrutiny. Okay, so here we go. We get into the issues. So abortion and social issues. The recommendation from the Department of Health and Human Services, the agenda calls for the Food and Drug Administration to reverse its 24-year-old approval of the widely used abortion pill. So they want to get rid of the abortion pill. Well, we're married now, so hey, that's what we own.
Married with kids. That's not a problem for us.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say real quick, and we did an episode on this when they overturned Roe v. Wade. Y'all can check that out somewhere in the ether, not in the ether. It's one of these episodes.
Right.
But when I actually did my own research, I I might have did it on that episode. But when you look at the numbers far as the women who get abortion, you look at the demographic, you know the women who actually who the women are who actually get abortions?
No.
They're women who aren't married. Married women don't get abortions. It's a very, very, very small percentage. This is all abortion. This doesn't matter what it's for, if it was a medical thing. It's just flat out if you got an abortion or not. Gotcha. It's only women who aren't married to get an abortion. And now, if y'all know how conservatives feel, they're religious, right? So when you get the pipeline of, well, you shouldn't be having sex if you're not married anyway. And then we just use statistics, right? If only unmarried women get abortions, and then I say you shouldn't even be having sex if you're not married, then I solve your problem. Now, this is America, you can do what you want. But this is the mindset you have to understand that they're coming from. They don't even think you should be having sex out of wedlock anyways. So if you just do that in and of itself, the abortion numbers will drop drastically because, I mean, if you're a married woman and you're getting an abortion for a non-medical issue, look, I mean, how you gonna sell us that?
The thing is, look, I know we all adults out here, but there are things that are in place to prevent this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we I know we don't got to give you a sex ed class on here, but just in case, you know what I mean? There are contraceptives, all right, that you can do so you can stop being reckless in the street. You do not need to shoot that club up, all right?
Yeah. Also, too, or you does not have sex. Abstinence is 100% foolproof. I know there are a few things in life where I can guarantee you, but I can guarantee you if you don't have sex, you will not, don't have any type of sexual conduct going on. You can get pregnant without penetration. Don't know the small percentage. If you stay away as a woman from an erect penis, right, and any type of seminal fluid, and as a man, if you with an erect penis, if you stay away from vaginas, you will not have a kid out here. And now, Jordan and I have kids. I keep saying kids. We each have a child, but we have kids as together.
Kids in plural. We're talking about the group. I got you.
Yeah, the group. We're talking about the group. I don't know everybody, but most of the people I know who got pregnant, they were not taking any type of contraception. So it sounds like, and I don't know people because I wasn't there when y'all was having sex. I don't know if you use a condom, if you on birth control, but I'm just going to speak from experience. Y'all was out here not using any type of protection. I know. I don't know anybody. I don't know anyone who got pregnant while using a condom. I know people who say that.
Yeah.
You can't lie to me. I got a kid.
Wilding in these streets. You know what I'm saying?
So I know for a fact the man side, he wasn't using protection.
Right.
As far as contraceptives that are provided to men. I know they got the male birth control. Y'all can try that out if you want to. That's for our children's generation.
Look, we ain't messing with that.
Yeah, millennials is not messing with that. But then for women, I know there are going to be women there are women out here who have gotten pregnant, when they were taking contraceptives as they were, prescribed to take it. Well, let's be very, very clear. Most people out here is getting pregnant. How do you get pregnant?
Right.
No contraception at all. And you shot the club up.
Look,
I mean, it's that simple.
It's being nasty in these streets, and it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it is what it is.
And even the people who they were using the contraceptive of pulling out, right? They admit, and the one time I didn't do it. See? And that's where it's like, yes, I mean,
the thing about pregnancy is you're either pregnant or you're not.
You're not.
There's no middle area.
As a man, it's just like, did you do it? And as a woman, did he do it? It's like that's where it's like when it comes to having kids, in general, it's just like, don't try to sit here and lie to me. Sex is kind of clear. Y'all be acting like y'all be doing stuff. Look, did he finish inside of you or not? If he did, you're probably gonna get pregnant. And I say probably, that's how you get pregnant. Okay, so it's like if you're driving drunk and dang, y'all, let's make sure people who drive drunk don't get in accidents. No, people who drive drunk are going to get in accidents. Right?
There are a lot of other circumstances that come into effect, right? Like things that I did learn as I got older is apparently it depends on what time of the month it is. Like literally there are higher percentages depending on what week of the month it is and where your partner is at in their cycle, right? So there are certain weeks where she's more fertile than others. You know what I mean?
But that's for your first kid. See, after you get pregnant one time, and see, this is how I know niggas be lying and bitches be lying too. See, I didn't know how serious giving birth was, but when let's be very clear. Let's be very clear. I like I said with the felonies, as long as you're not a repeat offender, cool. You get one chance. You never had a kid before, so maybe you did not know. Anybody you had 2+ and you my life sucks, that's on you. So I'm of the situation where we should only give you government assistance for one kid. We're not going to, the more kids you have, the more assistance you'll get. No, we're not giving you for any more kids. No, you only get one kid.
But what happens if you have more than one kid at the first time? Like, let's say you get
twins. My bad. Yeah, that's it. I forgot. Yes, my bad. We give you one birth. One
you
birth.
go. Okay,
We
all
give you
right.
one birth.
Good
For
stuff.
people like Jordan who say, "Well, what if I have twins?" Man, that number's so small. But fine. As if
I
we
do
yeah.
actually know someone who had
I
their
know people had
first
twins
birth
too.
and they had twins. So
I got three people I know. First pregnancy, twins, and all
gotcha.
of them are girls too. None of them are boys. Anyways,
Yeah.
but yes. So in your first birth, because on your birth certificate it says single or twin, I guess, or whatever it is. So yes, your first birth, we'll give you whatever you need. This whole other conversation we know, yeah. But for women out here, you got pregnant twice and you got 2 babies after the first time. Man, the stuff I saw my wife go through, I'm like, yeah. I'm not y'all lost it with me. I used to be understanding. You have lost it with me after kid 1. That's on you.
It's crazy. It's crazy out here. Yeah.
Because then don't they tell us we put our life on the line? Why y'all keep putting your life on the line for the ain't shit nigga?
Yeah.
But remember, Jordan,
I ain't gonna hold you to carry a child to term for a nigga that you might not even like is nuts.
What? Hey, and to do it again, or hope it's the new nigga. Right, it's the kids got different dads, so it's a new nigga. Yeah. Or how about this? The new nigga got other kids. You know what I mean, like because that's how the numbers are, right? For people in these for the people who are in this situation and getting an abortion. We are on track here, right? We talking about the topic. That's what the numbers are.
Yeah,
I want to be very clear. I had never, I was never on the front lines. I had never seen it, man. Once I saw it, no, you're crazy. I'm like, yeah. She on the life insurance, like I guess it's in theory it's worth it. But that's what they said to us. We were putting our life on the line. Well, why do you keep doing it? I mean, but I mean, it is what it is. So again, if they get rid of abortion, that's a conservative thing. Like that is what it is. I don't think abortion should be 100% illegal or not. However you want to view it. I do agree with them overturning Roe v. Wade and giving it down to the states, because some of these states, as we said on this episode where we read the article, some of the states, I think it was Mississippi, they voted for like 70% no abortion at all in any case. Fine. In Mississippi, that's what y'all want to do, then that's what y'all want to do. If you want to take, incest, somebody was taking advantage of, if you want to take that off the table too, and y'all got 70% of people here saying that, I just want to go to Mississippi. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they wild.
That's how they live. I'll still go to Mississippi. I mean, like, but also too, again, we talk about in the federal and the state. That's why it's supposed to be separation of the federal and the state government. So at the state level, you can make this type of change, right? I mean, if people in Mississippi don't want abortion at all, I mean, that's what they want. It doesn't hurt you in California. Why are you trying to get your California representatives to make Mississippi have abortion when you can just have whatever you want in California? By the way, which is California is doing now due to Roe v. Wade getting overturned, is what Mississippi's doing. Gotcha. A lot of times people don't see that. I don't know why people in California want minimum wage to be $25 in Mississippi. They don't want that there for whatever reason. Like they don't want it. And you can just go and take your minimum wage in California and bump it up, which is what they've done. And that's where it gets confusing. There are a lot of things you can get done at the state level that people, for whatever reason, kick up to the federal level. So hey, to get rid of abortion, that is what it is. We're gonna move. You got anything on abortion? We're gonna move a little bit fast.
Nah, we good. Let's roll.
All right, okay, we got overturn Roe v. Wade, still abortion. All right, targeting federal agencies, employees, and policies. Agenda takes aim at long-standing federal agencies like the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, or isn't NOAA? I don't know. The agency. Too many government. Right. Yeah, too many government acronyms. It's crazy when it's an acronym and they make it a word. They try to pronounce it, and it's like, anyways, trauma from work. The agency, not trauma, but I'm being facetious. The agency is a component of the Commerce Department. And the policy guide calls for it to be downside. So they want to downside. This sounds like it's going to get into global warming based off of the name of this organization. National Weather Service, National Marine, Operation. They believe it's harmful to the future U.S. prosperity. Department of Homeland Security, established in 2002, should be dismantled.
Look, they're taking everything apart. Everything got to go.
Or moved under the purview of other departments. That's the thing, too. Some of the stuff they might get rid of, but not get rid of what they quote unquote do. So they might move it to another department, right? So what oversees it is still, I'm handling it. So, for example, immigration-related entities from the Department of Homeland Security.
Doesn't that eliminate separation of duties, though? Like, you know what I mean? Having these individual departments to handle these individual issues, right? If I start lumping stuff together all under these, under one big umbrella, then we got, it's, it's like one to many, right? One department implementing responsibilities.
Yeah. You're thinking about it from a developer, a coder standpoint. This code can't work if you do this. Yeah, right. Not with laws. You can just make the laws up.
Yeah. Got it.
I think people tend to forget, like, it's against the law, yeah, until they say it's not.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. That's why, so, you get the morals and laws. Like, I mean, if it's against the law, then just change the law. Like, if it's against your morals, it's always against your morals. Your morals can change, but like, morals are more indefinite and more fixed. They can just change the law. Look, man, they used to be enslaving our people.
That's true.
Like, they just changed the law, said they can't do it. No. Yeah, I mean, they had a whole war and everything, but that's how it works. All right, but yeah. So immigration related entities. Okay, yeah. Department of Homeland Security, Justice, Health and Human Services should form a standalone cabinet level border and immigration agency staffed by more than 100,000 employees, according to the agenda. So again, they're saying they want to get rid of some stuff, but it's not get rid of as far as, you got 10 people here and they're permanently gone. They want to redistribute and short where those 10 people are at, or the purview that they're underneath, more so than just getting rid of it. And it's like, I mean, again, at the end of the day, the names, Department of Homeland Security, the name of the name, the name is the name. It's like, what is their purpose, right? What are they supposed to do? Department of Homeland Security, I think it's kind of self-explanatory. They should be protecting our borders, right? So
securing the country.
Anything as far as immigration, Homeland Security should probably be, guarding our coast, which is why the Coast Guard is underneath the Department of Homeland Security and not Department of Defense. Okay, for those of y'all who don't know that, right? So they should be this type of, I don't know if FEMA's in here. When we have an issue in the United States of America, the Department of Homeland Security is the main thing that should be, I said main thing involved, but it should be handling that. If you got to call the police, your county police shows up first. Okay, I mean, that's what should be showing up.
Yeah.
Right. So we can think about it like that. And so something like this is like, okay, I mean, if y'all want to redistribute it, like, as if I care, but like, we need the border fixed. I mean, I don't care what branch or what department these people are under. It's like, are they doing the job of handling immigration? Right.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of that. If the policy recommendations are implemented, another federal agency that could come under the knife. See, look at this verbiage. What? I mean,
it's aggressive, violent.
Yeah. By the next administration with action from Congress is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Hey, look, a lot of being screwed, man. You know how many scam phone calls you'll be getting? And again here, a lot of financial institution experience here. People be getting got for their money.
They do.
Okay, so again, we talk about the Department of Education. Have you seen, America's education numbers? I don't know if y'all seen the scam numbers. I don't know if y'all seen the fraud numbers.
It really be wild too, because what I've also realized is common sense ain't so common, right? Like, I mean, if it's a number texting you to about a link for your credentials that you don't know, don't answer it. Like, I mean, and I maybe it's just because I work in computer science, got a whole master's in cybersecurity, so it's just like, this is like common sense to me. But you'd be surprised how many people click the link. Don't click the link. Don't get got. Don't give them your stuff, man. Y'all be out here doing them. What's the posts, like the social media posts where it's got like all them what do they call it? The security question information where it's like, I'm a tourist. My birthday was this.
Yeah. Catch me if you can. Catch me if you can.
Yeah, it's like, bro, stop putting your information online.
Yeah. That's the real big thing is with elders. It's like, Jesus, how long have I been a teller? This is almost 10 years ago. Jesus, I feel so old. This is almost 10 years ago.
Like, I remember when you had that job. Look at
that. Yeah. I mean, I stopped having it in 2018, but like I was working it 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. Gotcha. But they call elder. That's why it's a law where you can't call people before, like, I believe it's 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Because they would call elder. I mean, people, they're scammers, so they don't follow the law, obviously. Right. But they'll call elders, at 6 a.m. standing at a institution and saying that they need their social security and things like that. And it's like, we already have it. Why would I, Yeah. But that's a big thing with elders. Now, obviously, in theory, that should tone down. Our generation gets older and older. Some more tech advanced, elders. But I know you've seen the AI type of stuff. And like with these voiceovers and stuff. In 10 years, if you weren't there, don't send me a video and tell me what happened. Because some of the stuff I've seen now, you've seen the voiceovers where they like make up people say stuff. It is, if you're not paying attention and looking at it
out here. Yeah.
And so in 10 years, that technology is going to be, shout out to cryptocurrency because I need some verification or something on here.
Literally.
But because when the Trump assassination,
so who you are when they send it or when the transaction happens.
Yeah. For the Trump assassination, I really thought I was going to see a fake video. I was like, they didn't try to assassinate the last sitting president. That don't even make sense. You know what I mean? Like, not now.
Right.
Well, they did. You know what I mean? Like, that's like how it is in my head when I'm looking at videos now. I'm like, is this real? Because I've seen some stuff that when I say got, like, I was duped when I was watching. I'm like, this is fake.
Listen, they got whole profiles dedicated to AI
Oh yeah,
generated
yeah,
people. You know what I mean? With AI generated voiceovers. It's crazy. Your social
yeah,
media people bots are a whole nother level than what they used to be. They used to be like
yeah,
automated response and text. Nah, they are automated people now.
yeah,
Automated, you know what I'm saying? Or fake AI generated photos. Like it's
yeah,
not a game out here. Like,
yeah. You was using the bot to get the Jordans. These,
yeah. Literally. Shout out to the sneakers.
yeah. They're not using the bot. I mean, they still probably using for that, but they've changed it up. Right, Nike trying to make sure people can buy they Jordans with the bots. We got other issues with the bots, Nike. We not worried, worried about these damn shoes.
Literally.
Oh my goodness. But the agenda seeks to bring a push by conservatives to target diversity, equity, and inclusion. I love that diversity, equity, and inclusion is DEI, but if you flip the letters, it's die. Anyways, or DEI initiatives in higher education to the executive branch by wiping away a slew of DEI related positions, policies, and programs, and calling for the elimination of funding for partners that promote DEI practices. All right, DEI. How do you feel about diversity, equity, and inclusion, Jordan?
I like
Do
it.
you,
I
do
mean,
you like it?
yeah, diversity, equity, inclusion. I mean, as a part of the diversity, look at it. I would like to be included. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I mean, so I have a associate who is in a DEI position at a company, and I feel like it's more inclusive of um like cultural aspects into what they do. So his specific position, again, we ain't throwing out too much, but his specific position, he works with like hotel branches to make sure that they are inclusive to different backgrounds, so all the guests feel welcome, right? So as an example, they have like a soul food night. You know how certain hotels host like like dinner,
Yeah.
depending on which one you're staying at. I don't know about
Mhm.
what your branch or preference is, but every now and then, like every Thursday, they'll have like a different theme night. So one of them is like a soul food night. One of them is like a taco night. One of them is like it's cultural inclusion of the food, of you know what I mean. So that type of stuff. Not even that, just the atmosphere in general, the music. You know what I mean? Because they really try to set a vibe when they have these nights. So I mean, taking that to a bigger scale. I mean, I'm assuming a DEI apply. Is doing that not just from a hotel management standpoint, but countrywide. I'm for it, right?
Yeah.
It's I think it's putting various cultural aspects out into the forefront, right? As opposed
Right.
to before they might have been ignored or maybe just not as exhibited on a higher scale, right?
Right. But what about when you get into like more technical positions? Like some of the jokes are being like that Kamala is a DEI candidate. Like it's like, and so what you're saying, like that type of thing, like sure, I would say that makes sense. Like from a business perspective, you should obviously market. I feel like this. If you're somewhere, if you're in if you're in Maine, you don't need to have a taco night. I would assume
Right.
you're Hispanic. You know what I mean? But if you're in Texas in your hotel and you haven't been having taco night, I think y'all should be out of it. First off, congratulations for still being in business. You know what I mean? So I would think from that general standpoint, yeah, you should improve,
But see, my
who
rebuttal
you're
would
targeting.
be even saying like if it's not just location based, would be you can get if
Yeah,
you're a hotel chain, you can get customers from anywhere. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like I might not be, the demographics might not support having a taco night in Maine. However,
right.
because you are a travel institution, you know what I mean? It's possible
Yeah,
that you'll get anybody from anywhere, right? So you should, you know what I mean? You should
yeah.
always be. I'm sorry, I know you're using that
You know,
example. Go ahead.
yeah, oh yeah. I'm saying from the hospitality standpoint, that makes sense. But when you get into a more technical position, meaning in short, like it is something like in our field, right, or something like a politician, things like that,
Yeah.
where should it be more on DI, meaning checking these type of boxes, getting on the affirmative action branch, or should it be more of do you have the skill set?
My
And what the makeup looks like is what the makeup looks like.
Yeah, so my 2 cents on that is I have no problem with DEI as long as it doesn't circumvent your credentials, right? You still have to be able to. You can't be a DEI hire and not be able to do the job. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Which means it's
So
not a DI hire. I would
it
think.
it
I
is if
mean,
you still put it as a factor for hiring. Does that make sense? Like if it's like okay, if I get what you're saying. You're saying like I would have hired you anyway, regardless, right? If you
yeah,
have the
but
credentials.
yeah, but when you get into intersectionality, right? Who's at the top of the DEI? See, this is the issue. See, it used to be us, okay? It used to be I'm black, so and that's what trump everything. My ancestors were slaves. I'm supposed to trump everything. Now that's not really that important. So,
Gotcha.
so put it like this. So I'm black, right? And this other person is black, right? It's two black males, but I'm heterosexual, and then he's homosexual, so he trumps me.
Yeah.
But in the DI, but how? Right? Say we have the same resume, right? So how do you determine when the resume is quote unquote equal, which is not possible? But how do you determine the hierarchy of the DEI? Do you have to actually be in, right? Do you have to be part of the LGBTQIA community to decide the hierarchy of it? So how do you actually break that down?
Good question. Good
Yeah.
question.
And that's the
Uh,
part where, it's like, well, I don't know. Exactly. You don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah, I think when you start getting into that level, though, it's like, okay, you got your DEI is a factor, but then it's also like the interview plays a portion, right? So we not gonna act like people don't get hired based off of their interview portion of their, you know what I mean? I do think that plays a role, right? So let's say we have the exact same resume, same circumstances as the hypothetical you gave, right? One person's one person's heterosexual, one person's LGBTQ. Um, if one person's, I'm assuming one person is going to score higher in the interview process,
Yeah,
right?
on
You
the
know what I
soft
mean? And that,
skills.
yeah, so
Mhm.
that would probably be the person I hire,
That's
or the
gonna be
person who
me.
interacts. Yeah, I mean, because the thing that I feel like is also a lost art that I think I want to say but like the millennials have kind of tried to preserve is charisma. People lack charisma. The
Right.
interoperability to talk to another person, right? Articulate what you
Mhm.
need, define requirements. Like that part. I feel like is starting to become a lost art after our generation, right? Like
Yeah. Social
we got
media.
yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That social technology has almost made a generation that is inept at communication, right?
Yeah, they are. In
In
person,
person.
they
You know
are.
what I'm
They
saying?
are.
It's
Yeah.
like, hello, I'm here. You know, like you can't. I've met a lot of young people that can't have conversations, and that's terrible. You know what I mean
Mhm.
for the workplace. So that would be
Yeah.
where I think would swing the vote one way or another.
Yeah. Because I mean, even coming from in theory, they say sports is the ultimate meritocracy. So they just judge you based off of your skill set. But in short, it's like when you play in sports, it's like people come from different backgrounds, and it's just like, look, man, we try to win a championship. It's like, yeah, I really don't care what you're from, what you believe in. You just need to have a skill set to do what we need to do to win the game, right? And so when it comes to things that we as Black people are at the top of, which would be like the entertainment field, in short, athletes, actors, artists, things like that. There is no DEI there. Shout out to Eminem. But in short, in sport, I mean, let's be clear. In sports, right? I mean, white Americans are not good at basketball. I can't even name you the best white American basketball player. I think it's Tyler Hero, the white
Is it
American boy.
really? That's crazy.
Luca's not American, right? Joe. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're
I was
right.
talking about,
I just had
right?
to think about it. Like
Let's be
I
clear.
mean,
The
put it in
last great
perspective.
one was Larry Bird. The
Yeah.
last all-time white basketball player was Larry Bird. That's really the last one. There is, I mean, John Stockton, right? Those are the two, but they played short at the same time period. But John Stockton isn't in the same conversation as Larry Bird. Like Larry Bird is a top 10 conversation. John Stockton's a top 10 position.
I'm gonna ask a real dumb question. This might
Hmm?
sound really stupid.
Who's John Stockton?
Dirk is not from here.
He's German.
Okay,
Steve Nash
got
is
it.
Canadian.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I figured with this, like, once I like
You must have never
placed the
heard
last
Dirk
name.
talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got a black white. That's probably why you're confused.
I
Anyway,
was like, is he not from here? Okay. Anyways,
he's
go ahead.
cultured from what
I
I've
got you.
seen.
I
I don't
got
know
you.
him
You got to.
personally, but yeah,
That's what I was
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
He been to a couple cookouts. Anyways, go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
but no, I mean, or even like think about it in NFL. I think it's crazy, and I know people don't talk about this, but I do. To see the change of the quarterback position going from not needing to be mobile to literally it is a bare minimum required now is insane.
Yeah.
It is insane to think that Tom Brady, who is the GOAT,
Yes.
if he were to come out, let's say it was still just him, right? It was still everything who he was. He would literally not be able to play football at all. He wouldn't get drafted.
Yep.
It's insane. So even the things that speaking for sports where Black, African Americans, Black people dominate, things that we got knocked for now just like, okay, mobile quarterback, but now it's like, nah, everybody can run. You can't name me a starter who can't move.
Yeah.
He's not saying that everybody's Lamar, but there's no Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
There's no Tom Brady.
Nobody's stationary.
Yeah, nobody's stationary. Everyone is mobile. I'm thinking, when did that? And obviously it's the white quarterbacks too. It's like, when did that happen?
Yeah.
I can't even. I guess the only thing I think of is maybe Andrew Luck. I mean, technically call it Steve Young. Even friend talked to him, but like Andrew Luck is like when it was like, okay, number one pick, and he's mobile as hell. Right. I mean, because Matt Stafford could move, Sam Bradford could move, but they weren't mobile like Andrew Luck. But I mean, Alex Smith can move too. I guess you take it back, maybe to Alex Smith. I'll give him this credit. But it's like now it's bare minimum. Like it's not even a question if you're mobile or not. Like it's like
how well can you move? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like playing D line or O line. Like, are you strong? Well, duh, you're strong. I mean, you can't play on the line and not be strong. So it's just that type of stuff that where again, there's a lot of Black people here, and like people aren't looking for white American players to play basketball. And they know for shooting, but now the best shooter is Black. The best shooter has always been Black, by the way, in the NBA. But like now, it's like even the things that white people used to be dominant or known for in sports, dominating quarterback position, dominating being able to shoot in basketball and still having a way, they don't do that no more. And guess what? Know why? Because they're not the best. It is what it is. You know what I mean? And so for other things where it's more technical, politicians, whatever it is, our field, it's like I don't want my doctor to be here because of their race or DI hire. I want them to be here for my skill set, especially going through, pregnancy now, right? Like I wanted the credentials for my wife's doctor to be up there. And when we found out, she had a slew of doctors, she had like 9, but one of them went to Wake Forest. I said, yeah, you need to deliver my baby. All right. Wake Forest is like Alabama football.
Yeah.
Short. Wake Forest is a top medical school. Yeah, you need to get my kid here. And guess what? That's who it was, and she got him here.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't care what her beliefs are or how she lives her life, because at the end of the day, my wife and my son being alive trump that. I could care what. Ironically, that his name is Trump. And that's
can you do the job? Period.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And because when you think about people complaining about supporting black businesses and things like that, it's like BG&E. My assumption is not ran by a whole bunch of black people, but best believe I don't care what they do over there. I need my electricity, my gas to come to where I live at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I get you though on things like that where, and I know you're talking about from like a hospitality standpoint where you make money based off of
being inclusive.
culture and so being inclusive, right? I mean, if you have this demographic of people coming here, like for the Olympics in short, right? If the Olympics were hosted here, in DC or something like that, obviously, you need to be able to market to the entire world coming here, right? I mean, it's simple logic. But for more jobs that are more technical and like people's lives are truly on the line, straight skill set.
Nope.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, state agencies. All right, we're good. All right, so now we're on to immigration. Here we go. Trump made immigration a cornerstone of his last two presidential runs. Okay, Project 2025's agenda not only recommends finishing the wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, but urges the next administration to take a creative and aggressive approach to respond to the drug cartel at the border. Again, who cares if the wall would or would not work? We need less illegal people to come here based off of our laws, and we need the drug cartel not to be running
across the border.
Are you guys anti-drug cartel, or should I say pro? Are you pro? Are you pro drug cartel bringing drugs over here? Yes or no? And again, you can debate on how we handle it, right? But a lot of times it's just putting anything in all, like the wall, right? How much that's going to cost, where we're going to get the money from. But let's be clear. A lot of you niggas need jobs. See, this will provide building this wall. if you're sitting there telling me you don't got no money, you're going to be a government employee or a contractor. And you can do this job.
Okay, this is my rebuttal to that, right? So a lot of immigrants do the jobs that people don't want to do. Like let's just straight up say it, right? You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows somebody that does a job, you know what I mean, that does it, and usually they do a pretty decent job, you know what I mean, and they do it for half, if not a quarter of the price, just due to the fact that status, and they're just trying to get paid. You know what I mean? Yeah, those jobs might become available, but I feel like the American people are not going to replace those jobs, right? And so then there'll be a shortage, right? So then the and I'm not trying to, no slavery reference intended, but it's like then the fields don't get plowed. Then the
that's all you got. That's all you have.
Listen, then the fruit don't get picked, right? So now my oranges are $20 instead of what I'm saying? They're $20 because they're now a rarity because what I'm saying? Nobody's out there doing the work, and the people who are supposed to take those jobs, the lower class, I feel like they're too good to go do it because somebody else was doing it, you know what I mean, before them, right?
Right. And see, that's the thing. If it's a shortage due to population, that's one thing, or skill set, right? But I'm not going to look at me and tell me that the immigrants that are coming over here from these third world countries are more, maybe they are because of our education system, but in theory, right, you would say they're not in short more skills. A lot of the stuff, is physical labor. I say all of it is kind of physical labor. And not to say that, building a house, things like that, these jobs take, a mental, aspect of a significant one, but, they're mostly physical labor jobs. But again, one of the things the immigrants practice though, too, is what? Group economics. Yes. So what they do is they all live in one place. So you niggas don't want to all live in one place. And so that's where the conversation from the conservative side is like, I mean, yeah, the job isn't going to pay as much as Jordan and I make, but I mean, if y'all all live together, y'all could easily afford this. Now, I can't say that you have to live together, but if the conversation is there aren't jobs out here and the conservative standpoint is, well, the immigrants are taking these jobs, and sure, right? And also too, remember this type, like with the wall, that'd be government funding. So that's going to be either be a government employee, so you get them government benefits, you can be a contractor. So you're going to get paid for this job. Now, whether or not it's still maybe say it's $70,000, but two people making 70 is 140. I don't think people know how to double, right? I mean, 60,000 might not be a lot, but two people making 60 is 120. A 120 is going to, in most places in America, is going to, have you live in a pretty decent life. And when we talk about the places for this wall, where the border is at, as far as the southern border, those are most of the lower cost living areas. So it's not like
I gotta ask you think they're gonna pay somebody picking fruit $60,000?
No, not fruit. I'm not talking about this is about the border. This is about the border. This is about the
border. Okay, all right. I had to circle. I had to interrupt. I was like, wait a minute, because like
no, not that. No, yeah, I think there is a general overlook of how much illegal immigrants do here. I'm not gonna say that, and the skill set that they already provide, and the fact that the people who are complaining that they have a master's degree, right, and they're working at Starbucks, they don't want to do those jobs. But let's be clear, you'd be better off doing the job. It's your pride and your ego. I don't see how you say you don't have enough money, right? And I'm giving you an opportunity to make more money, and it's not against your morals, and it's not illegal, and you don't want to do it. You weren't here for when I did the student loan episode. People who are married with no kids have the most student loan debt. What are you doing?
I mean,
what's the theory? They're going to, they have no kids, so they're going to school more. No, if you don't have any kids, all you should be doing is work, and you're a grown adult. What are you doing? Right. So that's the type of thing where people don't even make the best decision for themselves.
Right.
Regardless of what the government is doing. It's like, there's a certain time where you have to think about from a group economic standpoint, which the Black community does not do at all. Right. Regardless of, how disenfranchised community is with most people not having the same parents, things of that nature, but it's just like teaming up. Right. See, we do this. Right. So we got the finance call tomorrow. Right. So this isn't our life. But most people don't do what we do. And there are people that and I know, right? Ask come to the meeting. They don't come to the meeting. That's fine. That's why we got more than y'all. I'd be confused with it. It's insanity. I don't get mad that Jordan is stronger than me. I mean, he genetically would be, right? But Jordan works out way more than I do. I'm just saying, like, it's simple logic. Sometimes you got to put in the work. A lot of people, what do you say? What do you say when we training? What did Kobe say?
Everybody want to be great. Nobody wants to do great work.
Next thing. Okay.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Like that. Yeah. And so when I hear about immigration, a lot of times it's not about what the definition of an illegal immigrant is, right? That's my conversation. I mean, there are a lot of things we can decide, but once we decide on a country what an illegal immigrant is, we should do what we can to make sure they're not here, and whatever breaking the law is for that, it gets enforced. We can't say you want illegal immigrants here, and a lot of times they're coming here illegally due to war and the refugees, things of that nature. But again, when we have all these homeless people, things like that, that's when the conversation starts happening. So like, how often do you take care? When is your house more important than somebody else's house? And if you're conservative, it's in the Bible, a man who doesn't take care of their house is worse than an unbeliever. Mm-hmm. And unbelievers don't go to heaven, by the way. All right. See, that a lot of you probably didn't pick that up. So you got to take care of yourself first. All right. Let's speed up some. Trump and his advisors say, okay, they disagree with Project 2025. Trump says, I have no idea who's behind it. Trump's pushback to initiative. well, he does know who's behind it because he might not. Maybe he said he didn't know that they did it, but obviously he knows who's behind it. Maybe he didn't know who's behind it, but in the sense of like, I didn't know who's behind it until I read this article, right? Maybe he's saying that and get benefit of the doubt. Trump's pushback. Go ahead. It's a bold lie. What do you mean? They used to work for you? Oh, okay.
Both of them. You know what I'm saying? Like literally.
The director and assistant director were your assistants in your presidency. Oh, you know what I mean? I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. But Trump's pushback to the initiative came after Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts said in a podcast interview that the nation is in the process of the second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. Let's be clear. Thank goodness it was a attempted assassination, because look, I might have had to head south because I can't be in Maryland. I definitely can't be near DC.
Perfect time to interject. Embrace your Second Amendment rights. All right. Believe in the right to bear arms. You need to be able to protect yourself. We can leave it at that. Let's keep going.
I would have been up out of here. We too close to DC. That's why when they was doing that January 6th, I'm like, we too close proximity.
Real.
Yeah, spill over here. But I have not seen no idea who is in charge. Okay, Trump's just saying he doesn't know who it is. The radical left Democrats are having a field day, however, trying to hook me. Okay, Democrats trying to make it seem like Trump is connected to this. He doesn't have a too big of an out, being that the assistant director and director used to work for him. I mean, that's kind of hard. All right, in response to Dan's exit from Press 2025, his campaign said the initiative had nothing to do with the campaign, did not speak for the campaign. It should not be. So the former director is saying it's not associated with Trump. However, this former director also used to be one of Trump's assistants, so chief of staff. So this is where it's like, okay, even if you're conservative or not, it's like, you got to make a little bit more sense. All right. 2025.
Like saying I didn't know what Cory was doing. Then Cory
right, yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing?
Like, okay, well, too bad. Guilty by association.
Right.
Okay, the bonds of Project 2025 would be greatly welcome and should serve as a notice to anyone or any group trying to misrepresent their influence with President Trump and his campaign. It will not end well for you, said Susie Wiles and Chris Lasivita, senior advisors on the Trump campaign. Okay. Former president said he doesn't know about it. Yes, okay. Again, like I said, I don't read these articles ahead of time. So Trump is saying he doesn't know about it, but the director and associate director were high people in his administration. So what Jordan and I have been saying this whole time. Ben Carson, former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Again, why was Ben Carson, who is like an all-time surgeon, ahead of HUD? The head of HUD, like he should have been something, Medicare, Medicaid, or whatever that secretary is for, right? I mean, he separated Siamese twins. Why is he in charge of housing?
Not even using his skill set to the max.
Yeah, and no, I know Ben Carson by definition, I would, he's a genius. So maybe he does know about this stuff, right? Let me not say he doesn't know about it, but based off his skill set and what he did, I mean, this is what he's nationally known for. And you like me, growing up in Maryland, you probably watched the documentary, whatever, on him where he separated the Siamese twins.
Yeah.
So I mean, John Hopkins is in Maryland, by the way, and we live in Maryland, so like Ben Carson is.
Yeah, bro, I had a whole foundation. Like, what are we?
Yeah.
Like...
Ben Carson is him before this president. That's what I was like. I can't talk bad about Ben Carson, man. I mean, like that's like Ray Lewis, and you live in Maryland. Like, look, you might be a Ravens fan, but look, that he's him.
Yeah, don't come over here and start talking that stuff.
Yeah, you can't talk bad about Ben Carson. It's like being from North Carolina, Michael Jordan. It's like, nah, man, we don't do that. I don't care if you're a Duke fan or not. You can't be disrespectful now.
Right.
We get to do that. You don't. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay, War Room podcast. Okay, talking about again still. Who reported to federal prison begin. Okay, former sentence Trump top campaign advisors. Okay, so again, talking about nothing Trump related being as far as Trump's actual people outside of the two people who worked for Project 25 or contributed to it. Everybody's saying, hey, we don't know about Project 2025. People appreciate
deniability, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they say they don't know. In response to Trump's post in July, Project 2025 reiterated that it was okay. They keep saying they're not connected. This is why I'm skimming through it. Okay. The initiative has also pushed back on Democrats' claims about its policy proposals and accused them of lying about what the agenda contains, which is probably the case because welcome to politics. Okay, what did Democrats say? This should be okay. Good, we're almost done. Sometimes the bar is misleading. So how much we got to scroll down. That's all that is. Despite their attempts to keep some distance from Project 2025, Democrats can say, okay, connecting to Trump, okay, before dropping out of the race, Mr. Biden, you mean President Biden. That's mad disrespect. Okay, you either call the president by their last name or you put president. But President Biden himself, I mean, that's wild. Accused his Republican opponent of lying about his connections to the Project 2025 agenda. Okay, he claimed on his campaign social media account. Okay, so saying President Biden said Trump's connected to it. Okay, Harris said, I guess July 25th. No, she knocked it on July 25th. By July 25th, she'd already been the pseudo nomination stuff. Candidate. I think they still got to wait for the DNC, which is August 19th, to actually like officially nominate her. I think, but I mean, everybody knows it's her. But
they had to get ahead of the put it out there, right? So she get her stuff going. Yeah.
Well, they had Biden. I mean, so you don't have to have the DNC because the DNC or the RNC is when they announce it. So they didn't have to have theirs. They didn't have to have an announcement one because he's the incumbent. But hey, I mean, look where you're at now, right? Proper planning prevents poor performance.
Yeah.
I bet they have it early in 40 years.
I feel like they kind of knew this was happening because think about it. I hadn't really seen too much like media or signage like the first campaign, right? Like I feel like I saw way more stickers and signs, and I feel like they kind of maybe had an idea about the health of I mean there were several.
He wasn't the incumbent though 4 years ago. Different situation. Remember 4 years ago too, he had to win the nomination. I mean, so it's
track. I guess what I'm saying is from a media perspective, I feel like they knew the switch was going to happen, so they didn't have as many like Biden Harris stickers and signs and promotions, right? Because it was like, we think this is what's going to happen, but we don't know. And then once it got out there, it's like, okay, now there's this big push, right? Like now I'm seeing her everywhere. I'm seeing signs. I'm seeing campaigns. Does that make sense? So I feel like that somebody in the back burner kind of knew, like, all right, we are probably going to flip this ahead of time, but when it actually happened, you know what I mean, in the timeline.
I think these are my views, not Jordan's. I think regardless of how people feel about the attempted assassination, whether you believe it's conspiracy, however you feel about it, I think when that happened and you see him stand up and that photo of him standing up with the blood falling, we got to make a change. I mean, that is, I mean, it's an iconic moment, but like, I mean, we need something a little bit different with that.
Yeah.
But okay. Can you hear Carter screaming?
I can. lightly. It's not like crazy, but
no, I'm just saying, like, this is why I look to see how much more time it is. I know about time to get up out of here.
I'm with you. Mine's downstairs. I can hear him too.
But the the fitness of President Biden. I mean, again, believe what you want to believe with that, but obviously, when he has been required to dispense his own thoughts and not, reading from a prompter or preparing, it has been rough to say the least. Here we go. That's the one thing that Kamala has over Trump. Again, she'd be able to run under my law. Trump's too old to run. Like if it was my law, Trump would be able to run. So Kamala and that, like that would be my play if I was her. I'm young.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she's 59, 60, but I mean, like
younger. Yeah. Look.
Yeah. I mean, in comparison. Yeah. Okay, Trump is all about President 2025, Pennsylvania senator. Okay, so a senator saying that Trump's about it. What Republicans say about 2025. Senators, including J.D. Vance, is now vice president. Okay, casting this Miller product of a think tank. Okay, they're saying it's a think tank, far right think tank. Okay,
told in this document has said that they just keep denying it. They don't know about it, but of course, it's a possibility that when if Trump does win presidency, that all these things will magically start getting put into effect, right? So it's like
Did you read it? Did you read ahead? No cheating. No, no. that is what it says though. Mark Rubio, all these people are denying it. So long story short, the Republicans are denying that Trump is connected to it. The Democrats are quote unquote lying. They're saying that he is connected to it. So believe who you want to believe. I think that's how both sides operate. But I think for everybody, it's on all of us to, try and get to the top of the article to close out, to, read the policies. But again, what is Project 2025? What to know about the conservative blueprint for a second Trump administration by Melissa Quinn and Jacob Rosen. At the end of the day, you guys need to read the policies. Vote who you want to vote for. At the end of the day, I believe if you're a felony out of jail, you're not repeated. I believe you should be able to vote. And I want more people to vote. But I think you got to read the policy. And I don't know if Kamala's came fully out with all her stuff yet. Because, she's only been running for like 2 weeks or whatever it is. But, read both policies and vote for what you want done.
Mm-hmm. Well, things that I've learned is to vote on the issues, not the people, right? And I say that to literally to contradict what I said earlier, but vote on the issues and not the people. And that is assuming you also have to. Character does count to a certain extent in the sense that because you're voting on the issues, you have to vote that this person is going to uphold what they say their stance on the issues and how they feel about what they're going to do about them. So it's like it plays a role, maybe not as much as I feel. Sometimes I feel like personally like he's after me, you know what I mean? But you do have to play the issues and play their stance, right? And that's the best you can do. Politics are politics. People lie all the time, right? So that's what it is. But
I think it's more so on the president if they're trying to get past what they said they were going to run on. I don't put any. The president cannot pass laws. You got executive orders, but that's not how it works. Like literally doesn't work that way. So I don't look for a president to pass something. When you look at the competition of how the Congress is set up, right, where people trying to win more seats in the House versus the Senate's more powerful, all that type of stuff, and that impacts how the laws even get through. Like the normal process is the Congress starts the law. That's the general process of it. So the president is sitting here waiting. These are his ideas.
In most circumstances, we're going back to how he stands on business. He will try. He will try. I just wish we had a candidate because, like, the thing is, Kamala, right? Cool, sure, right? I don't think if she wins, she's still going to stand on business in the opposite direction as what Trump does, right? She's going to operate how previous presidents, other than Trump, have, where she's going to, kind of consult her staff, see what she's allowed to do, and then implement on that grounds, right? Versus coming here guns blazing, hey, I want to do this, make them stop me. Does that make sense? And I just wish we had somebody on, again, doing the things that we want done at that level of aggression. That's one thing I do like about, whatever he plans to do, whether it's Project 2025 or something, we know he's going to come in and he's going to try to do it, and he's going to make people do their job, right? And that's the problem is, I don't, we both interact with government workers. People don't want to do their job. They want to do the bare minimum, get paid.
You can't fire them.
They don't want to do their job. They can't go nowhere. You can't. It's very clear. It takes a lot to remove a government worker. It's a very long process. Lots of paperwork, lots of write-ups, over time, performance improvement plans, etc. Right? They don't want to do the bare minimum. So it is. His strategy is, I kind of rock with the strategy. I ain't gonna hold you because it puts more work on you to try to stop. I'm in the position of power, right? It puts more work on you to do your job to determine whether I'm allowed to do what I'm doing. And by then it's been done. You know what I mean? If you don't want to do the work, okay, it stands until somebody else decides to do the work. You know what I mean?
I think that's the one thing too. That's what I said, like being where we're from, like we have so much more insight up to the federal government. Most, when I say most people, if you're not in Northern Virginia, DC, or Maryland, you don't know anything about the federal government because y'all don't live here, right? Like obviously there are federal government agencies, people everywhere, but this is where everything is at. We're right next to DC, and so y'all have at the state perspective, the local county perspective, but the federal government perspective, when you're from here, it is a different. I grew up driving past National Security Agency, the NSA. I grew up going to the doctor commissary on Fort Meade, where NSA is at. Like that is my life. So my sensitivity to all this type. So this is my life, right? And same thing with Jordan, right? Jordan's both his parents retired military. So that is what it is. And Jordan's an actual government employee. I'm a contractor. Like that, it's just the life that we have. And so we don't have the sensitivity when stuff goes down, being that we're so close. It kind of is what it is. And we see the insight, and it's like, look, y'all, it is some crazy stuff. And the incompetency of some people who have these 13 and 14 and 15, next to their names, it just kind of, it's like, oh my goodness. And so there's so much stuff going on. But again, I think even to wrap up, so we don't, as black people can never leave.
Right.
I think the president, which a lot of people don't look at, is the president is not the president of the United States. The president is the fourth figure as the most powerful person in the nation. And whether you like it or not, there are countries that do not like us. I don't know if y'all know, but there are countries that do not like us. And most of, if not all those countries, whether people like it or not, but this is, in short, how they operate. You can say they're racist or misogynist, whatever it is, but a lot of them don't like women. I didn't say I don't like women. I love women. But these countries that don't like us don't like women. So putting a woman in that position to have these conversations, what they do is like, come on now. And I'm not saying that you should or should not do that. But when you see other countries, like Germany, I don't know if they still have it, but like their president, sure, their chancellor, whatever, is a female. That we're not Germany. Okay, we are the United States of America. How we make decisions on a global standpoint impacts everyone. And unfortunately, other countries won't respect a female in that seat. That's just how they operate. I don't agree with that in the general sense of it, but that's just how they are. And so you have to take that into consideration too. Because if you're talking to Putin, like,
entertainment purposes only, we love ladies. All right, we're both married to one. Anyways, go ahead.
But yeah, I'm just saying, like, that stuff, is important when you're. That's what that person holds in that seat. They're not just like our president. And sure, like other people, other countries are looking at who we are putting. Like, I don't care who Germany elects as their president or change. I don't care. But Germany cares about us. They care who we put in, and that's the type of power that we have and that president has.
Gotcha.
All right, that's it, y'all. Locked and loaded. End of the episode. Jordan. Are you going to be back in 2 weeks? Is the question.
That is the intent. Yes. Hold on, let me look at. Yes. We can talk offline. But more than likely, yeah.
Oh my goodness! Make sure you comment, like, share, and subscribe. Shout out to the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you leave the rate and reviews on the podcast platforms as well. My information is on my coach Jordan information. Can be found in the description on YouTube. Jordan, Stop Stalling J on socials. FinallyFit.live, where you can go to sign up for the 5:30 a.m. Monday and Wednesday Eastern Standard Time virtual training sessions. And my information is silent_Cory for the financial information. All right. Yep. Yeah, my son is he's getting to that. He's getting to that point. He's about to start banging on this.
Yep. I got you.
I don't know if he's getting louder. All right, you have anything, bro?
No, sir.
All right, y'all. Remember to say more and say less.
And keep making better your best.
And I'll catch y'all in the
next one.
We will catch y'all in the next one. Not y'all.
Yeah, look at that.
All right, y'all.